Hello, hello, hello. Just got off the phone with the labor board. The lady was really nice. Oh, it's about to fall. Anyhow, the lady was really nice. She took all my stats down and stuff like that about time work and the amount that I normally get paid versus how much minimum wage times the amount of hours worked and stuff like that is. The thing that's tricky about a car dealer, which a lot of people don't know, is when you do certain things for the public and sell certain things to the public, um, they are not obligated to pay you your full scale, your full range of salary that you normally would make. All they're obligated to pay you because of how everything's written is the amount of hours worked times minimum wage is how it's written up. So what I did was I ended up going straight to the labor board again. They told me last time I called, give your employer one full pay period more to pay you. And if they don't pay you in another pay period, which they have an additional 15 days or one full pay period is how it's written in the law, then you need to contact us back and we get into immediate action on how everything's written. So I called them up just now. I talked to the lady at the labor board, and she said, yeah, they should have paid you something right by now. And what they have to do actually is they have to, once we get involved, is we tell them, look, you got to pay a minimum wage. If you don't pay them at least minimum wage times the amount of hours worked, then you end up leaving yourself susceptible for court. It's a court battle at that point. So my employer decided that when I messaged them last week, they said, yeah, you should have a check. That's what the service manager said. But he's new. I don't think he really knew what was going on completely. Like he does, but he doesn't. And then I messaged again Monday. He says, oh yeah, you should have something in the mail. But I haven't checked the amount. I contacted Tuesday and said, so what's up? How much are you sending me? What's the amount? Let me know so I have some kind of statistics to look at budgeting wise and what's coming in the mail. And just, be ready to look out for it so it doesn't get lost in the mail. He says, you know what, I forgot, I didn't ask, I'll do that. So yesterday I messaged him and I say, hey, did you ask? No reply. This morning I wake up, no reply. A couple hours ago, I get a reply. And it says, you know what, they said that because you shorted them uniforms and because of the agreement you had with Billy, you're not going to get paid anything at all. I said, what agreement? I never had an agreement. This fictitious agreement that people are starting to come up with at this dealership, that I agreed to something that I did not agree to. I didn't agree to anything. Well, you verbally agreed that if you went to school, you would stay for 6 months past each school that you're sent to. And I said, you know what? No, that's against the law anyway. The law states that you cannot bind an employee to any kind of written contract or verbal contract that would affect their paycheck. And even if that was the case, you have to take that up in civil court. You cannot mess with somebody's money that they get paid via their paycheck. So that's what they think they're going to get away with. I called the labor board up and I told the labor board exactly what was going on. I said, look, this is what these guys are doing. I can't control it. I don't know what to do about it. And the lady said, okay, let me talk to you. Let's get dates and times and when the last time you was paid is. When was the last time you were paid? And then she wanted to see when was the day they didn't want to pay you. Where are we at today? Okay, we're already past that 15-day threshold. Yeah, they got to pay. They got to pay something. You can't. What's going on? You can't go without paying an employee anything. I mean, you have to pay them something. Even if they owe you money, you have to pay them something. It's just how it works. The only way that you can take money away from them is if you damage their facility. That's it. It's the only way, and that was not done at all. So now we're to the point where we're fighting back and forth with the labor board's involved. She asked for the dealership phone number and all that stuff, and now they're contacting the dealership and they're getting the ball rolling on their end to see you got to pay something. They said they're gonna try to get more money than just minimum wage. They think it's only fair, especially with me uprooting myself from where my family's at here, moving all the way down there, and then to Louisiana and having to deal with this silliness from Billy Wood Ford. I mean, How do you conduct yourself as a dealership? Now, let me tell you guys something that I haven't told you yet so far. A little update on the dealership, the little 411, the drama behind the door, right? I know somebody at the dealership still, and they said, brother, you're not going to believe what happened. After you left, the general sales manager left. He went to Performance Dodge in Alexandria, Louisiana, and he's a GM there now, making substantially more money. He left that place. And then they said 2 salespeople quit and left. And then after that, the actual general manager of both dealerships got fired. Doug. They fired him. Wow. What a messed up establishment. People, I mean, these people don't even want to work there. And the sad thing about this is, I'm not talking bad about the people that work there. There's a lot of people in the past that the quality of employees that get hired at certain establishments, you got to have a specific type of employee. In sales, you have to have somebody that can con. You have to have somebody that can sell. You have to have somebody that's got a silver tongue. You have to have somebody that can make you believe you need something even when you don't believe it, because that's the whole part of sales. That's how you keep your business afloat. So instead of it being like real good, honest, sales, there's a lot of stuff going on sometimes where people are making them believe, oh, you need this car. If you need a car. The car you're driving is not reliable, knowing darn well that it'll get you by. That they'll completely speak against it, because that's just sales. That's how it is. And it's a dog-eat-dog cutthroat world. And when you're working in sales, you have to be ready for stuff like that. You have to be ready for the fact that it's not always going to be well, I'm in a better situation so far, but it still doesn't negate the fact that there are so many people, and this is what I don't understand in the world. And this is just me and you talking right now. Somebody left me a message, for those of you that won't see. You're sparking something in my head that has been reoccurring over the last 3 weeks. There are types of people in the world there are doers, and there are people that don't want to do. There are followers, and there are leaders. And I don't want to be a follower. I don't want to be anybody's follower. And I want to lead. I want people to feel comfortable with me leading. And there are so many people in the world in general that say, you know what? Why'd you even say anything? Just walk away. Just be done with it. Why stress it? Just leave it alone. You're in a better spot. You're in a better spot. Leave it alone. Don't fight for your money. Don't fight for what you work for. Honestly, I'm not saying this is you, but this is what people have said to me since this happened. You're in a better spot. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Why? How many people in the world get just left alone for people to walk away from them, let them continue doing bad to people over and over and over again with no reprimand for it, with no consequence of doing wrong? My dad the other day, he said something to me that didn't rub me in the right way, but he's my father, so I just deal with it. I have to deal with it. But I was in a gas station, and a security officer came in, and he had his pistol on his hip. He wasn't a police officer, he was a security officer. And he walked into the little gambling side of the gas station. And when he was in the gambling side, the lady came over there and said, sir, you can't be in the gambling area with that pistol. You got to get out of here. So she got out, or the guy got out, and he said, since when is this? And I can't even be in the gas station with a pistol. And she says, no, you can't have this weapon in the facility. So, we didn't think anything of it. I thought, you know what? I bet you that weapon thing is not posted on the door. And I waited for everybody to clear out of the gas station. And I said, actually, if you want to make sure that your establishment is up to code, you got to have that no weapon sign posted on the door. It's a state law. It has to be posted there if you don't want people to bring a weapon inside your facility. And he said, oh, I didn't know that. And I said, yeah, it should be there to protect you as an establishment. It needs to be posted on the door. That's an Illinois law. And I had no idea. I'll get my manager to put that on the door. Well, I was telling my father the story, and my father said, Rich, why'd you even say anything? Why wouldn't you just walk away? Don't worry about it. It's not your business. Well, because there are so many people in the world that don't worry about it. It's not their business, but they don't say anything at all. People don't know about that kind of stuff. If I didn't teach people about health and nutrition and stuff like that, just like my father sometimes when he hears, you know, that I'm coaching keto and stuff like that online. My dad's like, Rich, why do you care? Why don't you just do keto yourself and just leave everybody else alone? Why do you care about teaching everybody else keto? Like, seriously, just worry about yourself. That's people's mentality. That's literally people's mentality all over the world. Don't worry about other people. Worry about yourself. Don't say anything. Walk away. Don't. Just worry about yourself. Don't do this. Just do it for you only. For one, it's super selfish to begin with. And number two, the answer is not to be quiet about everything. Holding people to a certain standard sometimes is what gets results. And that's exactly what this is. I'm never going to be quiet about a situation. I'm never going to be quiet about not saying anything. I'm always going to speak up. You know, I brought some information to light recently that a lot of people didn't like that I brought to light. I brought you guys a legal battle. I brought a situation forward that a lot of people didn't want to hear about, that they had questions on. And I came forward and I said, I want you guys to see this. Some of you are not going to like me after posting this, but I think you should see it. I think it's something that should be public, and I think you should know about it. And a lot of people didn't like me after I showed it, but it doesn't matter. I feel like it's the right thing to do. You know, I've had several messages from people, like friends and stuff in private, like, why don't you just leave that whole situation alone and walk away from what you're doing and just turn a blind eye to it. Don't say anything. Turn the ears off, put the blinders on, and just don't even look at it. That's not the answer. That's really not the answer. It might cause some temporary stress for you in the beginning of having to deal with something, but the gratification in the long run of doing the right thing is what matters. And I think that's where a lot of people fall apart. They'd rather walk away and not say anything rather than face it. And that's like that's the typical response to things, and I just don't understand exactly why that's how people want to respond. I mean, I want to get paid. I'm not going to walk away. I did 2 weeks worth of work. They made a ton of money off me, thousands of dollars off of me. They need to pay me something from my salary, at least within the law. And then after that, I may even go civilly, and I may hire a lawyer and do things civilly. I'll fix it. Thank you. I don't understand the situation where people just, everything has to be walked away from. Don't say anything. That's one thing that I don't understand, and I'll never understand that. I don't understand why anybody wants to do that. You know, I don't know how many times in public I've seen, for instance, I was with a buddy and his wife at Walmart, and we were standing in line, and we went in there to eat at the local Subway. This is back in my years of eating whatever I wanted. And we go into the local Subway. I don't work for myself. I could work for myself, but I just don't have the finances to start my own business right now. I moved back up to Illinois, and I'm working for Illinois now, or I'm working for Rush Truck Centers in Illinois as a diesel mechanic, a journeyman diesel mechanic in the union up here. I just started. Long story short, I mean, obviously you're new to my story or whatever, because you'd know. I worked for a dealership down in Louisiana. It's a really shitty dealership. It wasn't doing very good. A lot of cutthroat stuff going on under the table. A lot of people that just throw each other under the bus all the time. A lot of backstabbing going on. Hours and stuff not being paid that's supposed to be paid. And then my father got sick. So I told my employer, look, I'm giving you a 30-day notice. I have a lot of certifications. This dealership had a lot of certifications with me being there, and it makes the dealership really look good when you have a mechanic, or not just a mechanic, when you have somebody with those kind of certifications. And when I left, he was upset with me. And then he tried to hold my check over my head. I'm not going to pay you because you're just leaving like this. I sent you to school. That's not my problem. You know, it's not my fault you didn't treat your employees right, for one. And number two, I can't handle this. I can't change the situation right now. I need to be there for my family. My father's in the hospital. I got to go home. I gave him a 4-week notice, and in 2 weeks, after all the hard work in the shop was done, he says, okay, get out. I'm not paying you anything. Get your stuff and go. So that's the story. Now I'm back up in Illinois trying to help take care of my family, trying to be part of their life. I work as a union mechanic now at a really good dealership, making very good money, but I've been living on fumes. You know, I needed at least $5,000 to move up here, and I was only able to scrape up $3,000. So I'm living off of frozen that I've been keeping in a cooler in a storage unit, hoping that it doesn't thaw out, which is just now starting to thaw out. So I'm actually headed over to my parents' house right now to cook some of it up so I don't waste it. And you know, I stop from time to time and get food for me and the dog, but we're literally living in a hotel room right now because this idiot didn't want to pay me my money. You know, there would have been like another $3,500 from my pay and the last 2 weeks' pay, or the last 2 paychecks, plus the money I had put away. And, you know, I would have had right at about $5,800. I could have moved into my own place. I would have been fine for a while until I started collecting income up here. But this idiot fires me after 2 weeks of getting all the work done. No paycheck there. The next 2 weeks, no paycheck, and I just ate up all the money that I had put away to move up here. I mean, it's life, and I'm dealing with it. I'm eating lunch meat and cheese and frozen meat that's been in a cooler for the last couple weeks. So yeah, life freaking sucks right now because of this idiot. But I'll deal with it. I'm getting by. I'm not starving. I found ways to get through stuff like this, and what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do other than try to just persevere? So anyhow, that's the story. Don't want to rehash that too many times because it's a sore in my side that's still open, and not a problem. I'm glad I can be here for somebody. I'm glad that you're getting success already too. That's nice. Or you're seeing success already. So that's the situation right now. The labor board's involved. She says she's going to call up and she's going to get things rolling and see what she can do. I don't know, guys. It makes people, if you think about this here, it makes people look at the situation, and hear me out when I say this too, and I'm sure you will agree with me. In the last 3 days, I've heard the same situation happen. How many employers complain about employees not giving them a notice? How many employers say, you know what, people just up and quit, and it's just not right, it's not right. But why is it whenever somebody gives a notice and tries to do the right thing, they fire them and they don't pay them? Or they fire them ahead of time instead of giving them the opportunity to stay throughout their involvement with the company that they gave the notice for. So at this point, why do you think people don't give notices anymore? They collect their check, they cash their check, they get their money, and they say, deuces, I'm out. Peace, I'm gone. And they leave. That's why. Because they know what the employer is going to do. They know they're going to fire them early. They know they're not going to collect their paycheck. So it's a double-edged sword. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. In the last 3 days, I've heard the same situation from 3 different people talk about knowing friends or it happening to them where they've given a notice and the employer fired them anyway. And not only do they not pay them their paycheck on payday, they make them wait 3 or 4 weeks before they even get their money. Oh, it'll sit on the secretary's desk or the accountant's desk, and we'll pay you when we get around to you. I mean, this is what happens. You know, I don't understand why people are shocked by this. They think that it's something that's brand new or whatever. Oh my God, you know, why would you do that? Well, it's a thing. Employers do the same thing that employees do that don't give a notice. They fire you, they don't pay you. This is exactly what happens. So that's why employees don't do what they're supposed to do as an employee, to do the stand-up kind of thing, because the employers are even more rotten than the employees sometimes. So what do? You know what I should have did? I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just went ahead and waited collected my paycheck, cashed it, waited to the next pay period, collected my paycheck, cashed it, and then said, you know what? I'm out. Because that's the kind of employer you are. And then this would have been, but I did the right thing. I gave a notice way ahead of time, and they used me. And they wonder why people don't give notices. They're not good employees. So, I mean, and you know, with all the people that I coach on social media, on the multiple platforms that I coach on Facebook, which is Carnivore Keto Nation Official. Carnivore Keto Nation Official is my main group. We only got like 4,600 people. It's not a huge group. It's just enough to stay, you know, it's enough to stay active and keep building relationships in the community. Then we have a couple small groups, and then I have my public page, and then I have my YouTube. I can't afford to take on anything else right now because of how busy I am in general. So it works for me. It's just enough for me to stay busy and stay happy. But whenever I look at the bigger picture here, out of all the people that I have on all these groups that know my situation, I have a very select few amount of people that actually I gotta get out of this road. I have a very few amount of people that actually know, like, they keep up with what's going on in my life, and I really appreciate those people. Actually, the person that sent me the labor law, the rules for all this, is Daryl. Daryl sent me the listing, I think it was Daryl, of all of the things that they cannot do to you, that it's against the law. And that's how I found out they have to pay you something. They can't just refuse your pay because of XYZ. They have to pay you something. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, he found the Louisiana law for me, and that's what got me in contact with the labor board. And the labor board said, absolutely, they can't just say you're not going to get paid. They have to pay you. So when I started to pursue that, that's what made me believe at least there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. The guy's not going to get away scot-free. There's got to be some kind of payment there, and that's where I'm at now. Is I'm pursuing the new job I started. They got paid on that Friday, and I started the following Tuesday. So I missed one day in the pay period. So yeah, my boss told me the other day, he said, even though we get paid every 2 weeks, you'll get paid this Friday coming up because it's considered one week held back or something like that. So he said, you'll actually be paid at least one of your weeks Friday. So he said it won't be that bad. At least you'll have some more income coming in. And then every 2 weeks, you'll have something consistently coming in. So I think it'll work out. I think everything's going to pan out the way it's supposed to be. But, guys, it sucks living on lunch meat and cheese and processed foods. And I even got one of the big giant packs of hot dogs and was living off that. And it's just, guys, I've been eating some of the worst stuff that I've ever eaten in a long time. And I don't feel good. There's a lot of days I don't feel good because of how processed everything is. There's a lot of days that I feel almost sick, but you know, I'm doing what I have to do to survive, and I'm trying to keep it as keto carnivore as possible. And it sucks, it really does. I'm not even eating real food sometimes because of the situation, because I'm just trying to pinch every single penny. I don't even know if I'm in ketosis anymore. I've been so tired throughout the day that I'm probably not. I have no clue. Check it right now while I'm in the car. I'd be surprised if I am. No, protein too high for me is not a thing. I can have as much protein as I want. I don't have that problem with everybody else. I've showed you guys. I've sat on screen and consumed 2.5 pounds of meat in one sitting and never had a glucose spike, never had ketones messed up, nothing at all. I mean, I personally can handle a lot of protein, but I'm also a big dude. I have a lot of lean muscle mass. I'm still overweight, but I have a lot of lean muscle mass. When I had my body mass index and everything checked, the majority of, let me see here. Man, this thing. I need to find a new spot to poke myself. Yeah, this thing really ain't working so well anymore. From doing all this diesel work, my skin has gotten so thick around my fingers and stuff now that it doesn't even want to penetrate my skin all the way. I move further up my finger and it's still rough. All right. Try this again. There we go. Got a little bit of blood now. Not really enough to do anything. So my blood sugar is at 97. Ketones are going to be low, I can already tell. Anytime my blood sugar's at like 97, not good. And all I did was have ham. I had some ham last night. It's what's going on, brother? Maria. I don't know what it was. It probably is some kind of sugared ham. I took whatever was on the table at my dad's house. He wanted me to come fix the drain and stuff over at his house, so I went over and fixed the drain, and then 1.1 millimolar. So that's not like me. Normally when I have a decent ketone level like that, even eating all the processed stuff that I've been eating lately, trying to just keep it meat-based, normally my ketones are like, when my blood sugar's around like 97 to like 105, my ketone levels will be, but I've fasted right now since, let me think. When's the last time I ate? I ate last night about 10 o'clock is when I ate, because I have my schedule's different. I try to eat really only one time a day, but sometimes I eat twice. So, you know, I'm not upset about. I've noticed that I have not gained any weight since doing this at all. I've gained no weight at all. Actually, in some areas around my rib cage and stuff, it actually looks like I'm a little thinner there. I can see more rib action going on, but it's not something I'm. If I have beer, which I never really do, I have Michelob Ultra, but I don't really have that. Now they have the organic blonde Michelob Ultra. I think that, you know, Thursday night and Friday, you're supposed to get direct deposited. So we'll see. I mean, I think that's what they said. So that's 1 week's worth of work. No, it's not. It's 4 days worth of work at $32.41 an hour. It's what I make now, which I'm very fortunate for. I'm glad I got a job that actually pays union. You know, it's $32.41 an hour, and it'll be nice to get some income coming in. So the whole premise behind, you know, keto is this much protein or this much fat, it's just based on general recommendations. Um, Keto is not 70 to 80% fat. That's just what people that tell you this is how you have to do it. You got to do keto this way. That's how they do it. And really, there are people that have picked one or two people and they followed them and they've adopted their way of doing it. And I don't blame them because they're really passionate about what they do and they believe that's the only way to do keto. But that's not correct. I mean, I've been doing this for, let's just put it this way. I'm going to change up the way I've been saying this because a lot of people think when I say this, they're thinking that I'm saying I know more than them. And most of the time I do. I'm not going to lie. Most of the time I do. But I don't want anybody to feel like that. I've been doing this with some kind of knowledge base since I was 17 years old. My parents started the Atkins diet back when I was in foster care when I was 17 years old, and I started the Atkins diet with them. And the whole premise behind it was inducing a phase of ketosis, and then you slowly come off of it. Well, the whole Atkins diet is very similar in the beginning how you start, but then it changes later on, so it's not the same thing. Atkins and keto is not the same. But I've had to deal with this kind of lifestyle since then. And even in my early 20s and stuff like that, when I was in the military, I would go to the chow hall and eat steaks and sausage and fish and just ground beef and stuff like that. I didn't really care for all the carbs and sugar. And I would order all my protein and stuff through bodybuilding.com. In Iraq, I would order between $300 to $500 worth of supplements every single month of different types of casein and pre-workout and optimum pre and post. Different types of high dose vitamins because I was in the gym for 3 or 4 hours a day. Yeah, I've done that. I've rolled up cheese and just cream cheese and cheese and just go to work and just be just like that, be fine. So I agree. Back in the day, you know, people did do stuff like that. They'd do ham roll-ups, they would do cream cheese and cheese roll-ups, things of that nature, and they would live off of that. Absolutely. I did that before, and I was completely successful at it. But it got to a point where I was losing so much weight so fast that I looked sickly. I got down to about 195 pounds, and even back then I was always a big bulky dude, and I looked sickly. My face was all sucked in. You could see the bones and stuff in the side of whenever I would eat, you could see the muscles like fluctuating back and forth, and it was nasty. It just wasn't something that I was proud of. So after doing that and learning how to live the lifestyle, and then getting into the military, and some of the soldiers were interested in what I was doing and teaching them, I wasn't losing muscle on Atkins. I never really lost muscle on any of the low carb protein diets, never. I didn't lose fat on any of that stuff. Another interesting story that happened today. I want to tell you guys about this before I get off of here. And you're going to think this is super wrong in so many ways. Fox News 10. I think that's like a southern Fox News station. What ended up happening is I seen Fox News posted a thing on Facebook saying that they were going to bring their segment of keto at 10 o'clock at night, right? Maybe I should create a separate video for this so people don't get lost in between my videos. That's what I'll do. I'm going to get off of here, and then I'm going to open up another one. I'm going to tell my story on that because I don't want this to be part of the same video. I want people to be able to share this separate if they want. So I'm getting off of here, and I'm coming right back on the next video. I want to share this pretty shiesty story that Fox News did, and I caught them while they were doing it. I took screenshots before and after, and I'm about to make a big video and post on Facebook about this so they can answer for it. I want them to have, I want to hear from them. Anyway, here we go.